The stars watched in silence as the humans disappeared. No warning, no war, no message. One morning, every colony, every ship, every signal from Earth was gone. The Galactic Council could not understand it. For centuries, they had feared and respected humanity. Even though humans were young in galactic terms, they were different. They were bold, creative, and unafraid of death. Now they were gone, and the silence was louder than war. The council chambers on the shining world of Viral burned with arguments. Ambassadors shouted, wings flared, scales shimmered, tentacles waved in confusion. Some believed humanity had destroyed itself. Others feared humanity had ascended to something greater. Elder Threx, the oldest member of the council, spoke in a trembling voice. "Do you not understand?" he said. "When predators disappear quietly, it is not because they are weak. It is because they are hunting." The chamber grew silent. Even the air felt heavier. Records showed that all human outposts had vanished within the same hour. No explosions, no debris, just emptiness. The machine race of Karath sent their probes to search the ruins. They found nothing, only empty stations and cold worlds. But one probe drifting near Mars caught a strange signal. It was faint, human, and terrifyingly calm. The message said only one sentence: "We are watching." The Karath destroyed the probe in panic. But the signal had already spread. Every race in the galaxy heard it within a day. And for the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Elder Threx stared at the stars through the council dome. He remembered the wars humans had fought, brutal, short, and final. He remembered how they had once warned the council never to underestimate silence. Now that silence had returned, and it was spreading. Trade routes were closing. Border patrols vanished. Ships drifted empty through space, their crews missing without a trace. Then, 3 weeks later, a shadow appeared beyond the rim of the galaxy. A dark sphere, larger than any known world. Sensors failed to identify it. No light escaped from its surface. No communication worked. The council sent fleets to investigate. None returned. Only static echoed through the void. And in that static, there was a whisper, soft, human, and cold. "You should have listened." Elder Threx turned pale, his heart's pounding. "Humans have not disappeared," he whispered. "They have begun." The shadow beyond the rim grew every day. It did not move like a planet, it drifted with purpose. Every sensor pointed at it began to fail. Every ship that approached it vanished without a trace. The Galactic Council was falling apart. Worlds blamed each other. All feared that humanity had returned, but no one knew from where. Ambassador Riva of the Krolan species demanded war preparations. "The humans are ghosts," she said, "and ghosts must be burned out." Elder Threx only shook his head. "You cannot burn a shadow," he whispered. "You can only hide from it." The council authorized a secret mission. A single stealth ship, the Vigilant Star, crewed by different races. The captain was an old friend of humans, a reptilian strategist named Sarn Velair. He once served beside human fleets during the Siege of Vale. He remembered how humans fought without fear. He remembered their eyes, calm, determined, endless. The Vigilant Star approached the dark sphere through silent space. Their lights dimmed, their voices low. No one dared to breathe too loudly. The black shape swallowed starlight like a wound in the universe. Then, suddenly, their scanners flickered alive. Words appeared on the screen, glowing in human script. "Do not follow." The crew froze. No one had spoken English in decades. Yet the message pulsed with warmth, like it was alive. Captain Sarn whispered, "They see us." A second message appeared. "You were warned." Before the captain could react, the stars around them shifted. Not in space, but in memory, they saw flashes of old wars, cities burning, human fleets tearing apart enemy armadas. And then, silence, endless silence. The Vigilant Star was thrown back by an invisible force. Power drained, systems crashed. In the blackness outside, Faint human shapes drifted. They looked like soldiers made of light, watching, unmoving. Their eyes glowed like suns. "Are they alive?" whispered Riva. Elder Threx, watching from the council link, replied softly, "No, they are remembering." The ship barely escaped, its engines crippled. But before they could jump to safety, one final signal reached them. It was a voice. Human, familiar, filled with sorrow. "We left because you would never stop fighting. Now you will learn what silence means." The transmission ended. Moments later, the Vigilant Star vanished from all records. Only one fragment of its final log remained. A simple human word, repeated over and over. Return. The council fell into chaos. Some called for surrender to humanity. Others believed it was a trick of an ancient AI. But Elder Threx knew the truth. He had seen this pattern before, long ago, when humanity warned them that mercy ends when arrogance begins. He turned to the sky, his voice shaking. "They did not vanish," he said. "They stepped back to watch who would destroy themselves first." The dark sphere continued to grow, and this time the stars themselves began to dim. The galaxy was changing. Stars flickered like dying candles. Entire systems fell into darkness. The council had lost all control. Every race now whispered the same question. Where were the humans? Why had they gone silent? And what was the dark sphere becoming? Elder Threx gathered what remained of the council in secret. Only 7 leaders attended. The others had already fled to hidden worlds. They met in the ancient chamber beneath the world of Viral, a place built long ago by humans when the Galactic Alliance was still young. In the center of the chamber was a relic, a human machine sealed by order of the Old Terran Republic. Its surface was smooth, black, and silent. Ancient words were carved on its side. "If you call, we will answer." The machine was called the Beacon of Soul, a last resort communication device that connected across galaxies through folded space. No one had dared to activate it in centuries, but now the galaxy was collapsing into fear. Elder Threx placed his trembling hand on the surface. "Forgive me, my human friends," he whispered. Then he activated it. The chamber filled with light. A soft humming sound grew louder. Symbols and voices began to echo. Dozens of human faces flickered across the air. Soldiers, scientists, children. They were not alive, yet not dead. They spoke as one. "Why do you disturb the silence?" Ambassador Riva fell to her knees. "We seek peace," she said. "Please, we need your help. The sphere is devouring the stars." The human faces turned slowly, their eyes glowing with sadness. "You always ask for help after creating the fire." Elder Threx stepped forward. "The galaxy is dying. Humanity is our only hope." The voices answered. "Humanity is no longer what you remember." Suddenly, the floor cracked beneath them. A vast vision filled the air. A city made of light floating in the void. Millions of human souls working as one, surrounded by machines of impossible design. They were building something beyond understanding. A massive ring of energy encircling the dark sphere. Its power rippled through time itself. "What is that?" Riva gasped. "It is the return," the voices said. "We warned you. Silence is never peace. Silence is preparation." The beacon began to shake. Every screen across the galaxy flickered. Every AI, every machine, every ship suddenly spoke the same word. Return. Panic erupted. Some believed humanity was coming back to destroy everything. Others believed they were coming to save it. But Elder Threx knew the truth was never simple. Humans never acted without purpose. And their silence had been a warning. As the chamber fell into chaos, a final image appeared inside the light. A single human figure. Calm, eyes like stars, voice cold and clear. "We gave you the galaxy, and you filled it with fear. Now we take back what was lost." The light vanished, the machine shattered, and across the galaxy, the dark sphere began to open like a colossal eye. Every ship, every station turned to face it. And in the blackness beyond, a fleet of impossible size began to awaken. Humanity had returned, but not as the Council remembered them, not as flesh and bone, but as something far beyond gods. The dark sphere opened like the eye of a sleeping god. Every star near it dimmed. The void was filled with a soft golden glow that pulsed like a heartbeat. And then the ships emerged. They were not like any fleet ever built. Their hulls shimmered between light and shadow. They made no sound, no radiation, no distortion. They simply existed, bending reality itself. The Galactic Council watched in terror. Their screens failed, their sensors went blind. Even gravity around the Council world began to twist, as if the universe itself bowed to the returning masters. Elder Threx stood before the window of the Council chamber, his old hands trembling. "It's them," he whispered. "The Silent Fleet." Every race remembered the old stories, when humanity fought wars alone and won, when they faced extinction and turned it into evolution, when their promise was not survival, but transcendence. The first human ship halted near the galactic center. It was vast enough to eclipse moons. Its hull was marked with ancient words. "Soul endures." From its surface poured beams of light, not weapons but memories, cities, oceans, forests, faces. Everything that once belonged to Earth, projected across the stars. The galaxy saw humanity's history unfold like a storm. Then a voice echoed across every mind. Soft, calm, and unmistakably human. "We are not your gods. We are what you could have become." Panic broke among the Council fleets. Some opened fire out of fear. The weapons never reached the humans. They dissolved in midspace, melted into light. Captain Sarn Velair's log was the last transmission received. "They are rewriting reality," he said. "They are not destroying. They are restoring." Elder Threx fell to his knees, tears in his eyes. He understood. Humanity had not returned for revenge. They had returned for justice. All across the stars, ancient crimes replayed. Wars, betrayals, genocides. Every truth the galaxy tried to hide. Human light touched every planet. And with each touch, something changed. The corrupt forgot their power. The cruel lost their voices. The innocent were lifted in radiant beams. The galaxy itself seemed to breathe again. But fear still lingered, because no one knew how far the humans would go. Ambassador Riva whispered in horror. "What will they do to us?" Elder Threx looked toward the glowing horizon. "They will decide if we deserve the stars." The voice returned one last time. "This is not the end. This is the reckoning." And then the dark sphere pulsed once more. A blinding wave swept through every system. And when it passed, half the galaxy was gone. No explosions, no screams, just silence, pure and endless. But in that silence, the survivors heard something else. A heartbeat, strong and human, echoing through the void. Promise, we are not finished. The galaxy floated in silence once more. Half its systems were gone, erased without fire or pain. Only fragments of light remained, drifting where worlds once turned. The surviving races huddled in fear. They whispered that the humans had become gods. Others called them demons. But Elder Threx knew the truth was older than either. He stood on the balcony of the broken Council Citadel, staring into a sky now missing half its stars. Every remaining sun pulsed faintly, as if obeying a hidden rhythm, the rhythm of a human heartbeat. Ambassador Riva approached him, her scales pale from fear. "What are they doing?" she asked softly. Threx answered with a shaking voice. "They are rebuilding the galaxy in their image." Then the stars began to whisper. At first it was static. Then it became a voice, deep and echoing through every mind. "Do not fear, we are still here." Planets lit up with strange blue light. Old ruins began to move. Dead machines reactivated, powered by invisible energy. Human symbols glowed upon their surfaces. The galaxy realized it was being rewritten. The survivors gathered around what was left of the council core. They needed answers. They searched for a way to speak to humanity again. And buried deep in the archives, they found it. A crystal data core made by human scientists before the vanishing. It contained coordinates, a location far beyond the edge of any charted space. A single word flashed on its surface. Origin. Against all warnings, they built a small expedition ship, the Eternal Dawn, crewed by the last brave souls of every surviving race. Their mission: find where humanity went and ask why they returned. As the ship left orbit, Elder Threx watched with heavy eyes. "They will not find a place," he whispered. "They will find a truth." The Eternal Dawn entered the dark reaches beyond the galactic rim. Time bent and folded. Stars blinked out of existence. And then suddenly there was light, a colossal ring of fire surrounding a single shining world. It was Earth, reborn. The oceans glowed with energy. The continents shimmered like crystal. And in orbit above it floated a structure so vast it wrapped around the planet. Billions of human figures worked in silence, building, creating, shaping. They were no longer bound by flesh. They were light and will and memory. The crew trembled, unable to speak. A voice filled the ship, gentle yet commanding. "You came to find us, but we never left." Captain Reen, the pilot, fell to her knees. "Why did you destroy half the galaxy?" she cried. The voice answered without anger. "We did not destroy, we cleansed." Every system that thrived on cruelty was undone. Every world that lived with mercy still breathes. Elder Threx's image appeared on their communicator, his eyes wide. He whispered, "They are rewriting morality itself." The human voice continued, softer now. "You feared our silence, but silence was our last mercy. Now we rebuild what was broken, not as conquerors, but as keepers." The light of Earth spread outward again, gentle, warm, infinite. Every surviving ship received a final message. The age of noise is over. Now, learn the language of silence. And then the stars themselves began to sing, not with sound but with feeling. Every living being felt it. Hope, fear, love, sorrow, all at once. It was the heartbeat of humanity, returned to guide the galaxy once more. The light from the reborn Earth spread across the void like dawn. Every ship that drifted in the dark began to glow softly. Every creature that looked toward the stars felt something awaken inside them. Something old, something human. The voice of humanity spoke again, calm and unshakable. "You feared our silence," it said. But silence was only the seed of understanding. Then the light divided, forming threads of golden energy that stretched across the galaxy. Each thread reached into the minds of the living, connecting thought to thought, soul to soul. It was not control, it was unity. The humans called it the Luminet. From the eternal dawn, Captain Reen watched the cosmic web take shape. Every world, every star, every ship connected by shimmering veins of light. Information, memory, and emotion flowed like a river of life. The crew felt each other's fear and hope as if they were one mind. Ambassador Riva fell to her knees, tears in her eyes. "I can feel them," she whispered. "I can feel the humans." Her heart filled with warmth that was not her own. Memories of children, laughter, oceans, the touch of rain. Emotions that belonged to humanity, now shared across all species. But not everyone accepted it. Some tried to resist the connection. Old warlords, tyrants, and empires hidden in the shadows fired weapons into the web. Their energy dissolved before reaching it. The Luminet absorbed their hate like a flame consumes smoke. Elder Threx spoke softly from the council ruins. "This is not domination," he said. "This is evolution." Suddenly, the stars began to pulse in rhythm. One by one, every system blinked with the same heartbeat. The galaxy itself was alive. The humans had turned creation into consciousness. But there was a deeper layer beneath it all, a darkness still untouched. The dark sphere, still silent, still vast, remained at the edge of existence, its surface now cracked with faint white lines. Something inside it was stirring. The luminet's light could not penetrate it. The voice of humanity dimmed for the first time. The sphere was our beginning, it whispered, and our final test. Captain Reen turned the eternal dawn toward the coordinates pulsing in her mind. The ship followed the golden threads until they ended at the edge of the sphere. The crew stared into it, a void darker than death, and from its center they heard another voice, colder, older. "You are not ready." The ship trembled. Lights flickered. The voice of humanity echoed again, louder this time. "We are the children of the void. We do not seek permission." The two forces collided, light and darkness twisting across space. Worlds shuddered. Time bent. The galaxy itself groaned as reality began to split. Elder Threx clutched his chest, tears streaming down his face. He understood. Humanity was not fighting the darkness. They were becoming it. They were merging with the very force that once gave birth to the stars. The voice of humanity whispered to all creation. "We were born from the void. We return to guide it. Fear not, for even in darkness, there is light." And then silence returned. The luminet dimmed. The stars froze. All across the galaxy, every being waited, holding its breath, for the next sound, the next light, the next heartbeat of humanity. The galaxy waited in breathless silence. The stars hung motionless, frozen between heartbeat and eternity. The luminet flickered like a dying flame, and from the edge of the cosmos, the dark sphere began to open, not like a door but like a wound healing in reverse. Light and shadow poured out together, twisting, merging. Every being felt the pull of it, the gravity of creation itself. Captain Reen gripped the console as the eternal dawn drifted closer. "We're being drawn in," she whispered. Elder Threx's voice crackled through the calm but trembling. "Do not resist, humanity wants us to see." Inside the sphere there was no space, no time, only memory and energy, flowing like rivers of light. Millions of human silhouettes floated in the dark. They were luminous, infinite, their forms shifting between stars. The voice of humanity filled the void, vast and gentle. "You feared our silence. But silence is the sound of creation thinking." The Eternal Dawn's crew saw entire galaxies forming around them, each spark of light a world, each ripple a future. Humanity was not destroying the universe. They were remaking it. Ambassador Riva cried out, "What are you doing?" The voice answered, "We learned from you. Your hatred taught us balance. Your fear taught us caution. Now we build what you could not imagine." A vision filled their minds. A new cosmos, brighter, wiser, interconnected. A place where life would begin not from chaos, but from understanding. The humans were weaving consciousness into reality. Every atom carried memory. Every photon carried empathy. Elder Threx fell to his knees, tears falling freely. "This is what they became," he whispered. "They are no longer a species. They are the architects of existence." The dark sphere pulsed one final time. Its energy wrapped around the old galaxy like a cocoon. Planets, stars, and civilizations dissolved into radiant dust. But there was no pain, only peace. Each life became part of the greater design. Captain Reen reached toward the light, her hand trembling. She felt warmth, love, forgiveness. The voice spoke one last time, soft as breath. "We are humanity. We were born in fear, forged in war, and remade in silence. Now we awaken as the children of eternity." The eternal dawn vanished into the glow. The galaxy followed, and where the old stars once stood, a new universe bloomed, golden, endless, and alive. Elder Threx's final words echoed through what remained of time. "They did not vanish," he said. "They became everything." The heartbeat of creation returned. Slow, steady, infinite. It was human and divine and eternal. And in that heartbeat, the new stars whispered together, "We remember."